There are plenty of ways to make money online, but none quite like becoming a YouTube celebrity. Making money through YouTube not only means you have a very stable source of large income without putting in that much work, but it also means achieving some measure of actual fame. If you make it big on YouTube, people will recognize you in the street, and it can even end up leading to other opportunities for your business. This is how celebrities are made in the digital age, so why not get involved? Of course, this is not what a YouTube celebrity will actually tell you. They'll say they've got it hard, that making content for YouTube is more difficult than it looks, and Google takes most of their commission. This may be true, but at the end of the day, they're still often making a video a day maximum, and often only a video a week, and they're still making huge amounts of money for talking on camera about something they love. But don't get me wrong, none of this is to say that becoming a YouTube celebrity is a get-rich-quick scheme, not by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, making money on YouTube is not easy at all, and there is a definite skill to this and a fair bit of luck involved too. A lot of people work incredibly hard at their YouTube content for years, never to see any real returns on it. So the question is, how do you go about exploding your content and building an effective business model on YouTube? How can you become the next big YouTube sensation? And what if you don't have a dashing camera smile? This video series is the answer. Here, you're going to learn absolutely everything you need to know to practically guarantee your success on YouTube. You'll learn not only how to build a massive audience in no time at all, but also how to make the most of that audience. You'll see how you can make money from advertisements and from sponsors. You'll discover growth hacking tricks to accelerate your progress, and you'll see how to make an effective YouTube channel without even setting foot in front of the camera. This series is your blueprint for YouTube success, and if you follow it exactly, you'll be giving yourself the very best chance of massive success on the platform. There's an awful lot to take on board here, but the most important thing to always keep in mind is that you're aiming to provide value and to offer something different. You can be smart about the way you do this in order to minimize your work and to maximize your exposure, but the key is to be genuine, to be interesting, and to really work on the quality and production values. It's also important to be consistent and to keep plugging away. Don't expect fame to come overnight, and don't expect your first video to get 1,000 views. This takes a lot of time and dedication, and you need to be consistently and reliably churning out high quality video if you're going to convince people to subscribe and keep coming back. But if you're smart and you're determined, then there's no reason you can't make it with the very best of them, and once the hits start coming, things will start to take off fast. And trust me, it's more than worth it. When creating pretty much any business online, whether it's an affiliate marketing business, a blog, or anything else, the first question you'll often need to ask yourself is, what is it going to be about? Or to use the correct internet business parlance, what is your niche, or niche as some people pronounce it? A niche is a subject that will appeal to a specific audience. An example of a niche would be sewing. Now, sewing is something that appeals largely to older women, but also a lot of younger women these days who are interested in arts and crafts. And of course, some men like sewing too. Let's not stereotype here. Either way, most people are either interested in sewing or they're not. Thus, it has a niche appeal and gives you a specific target audience. You can go even more niche if you like, though, and choose crocheting or bird sewing patterns. But the more niche you go, the more narrow your audience. Another example of a niche is fitness. Now, fitness is a much larger niche because it will appeal to a huge proportion of the population. Nearly everyone will want to get fitter at some point in their lives. It's still a very specific subject matter that will talk to a very specific type of person. but it's a much broader niche. When it comes to internet business, the key often boils down to finding the right niche, and this will often mean finding a niche that has a broad appeal while not being overly competitive. The problem with the health and fitness niche is that you're going to be going up against a huge number of other channels. Some big names in this space include the Hodge twins, Athlean X, bodybuilding.com, Rob Riches, and Elliot Hulse, to name but a few. Many of these channels have been around for years now and have millions of subscribers and huge amounts of money to spend on marketing. That means if you want to go up against them with a video on how to get abs, you might well struggle to get your video to a position where it will actually be seen and clicked on. But on the other hand, a YouTube channel about crocheting cat patterns probably won't get looked for very often and will quickly reach its peak, leaving you with nowhere else to go, and of course a big cap on how much you can possibly earn. So you need to choose the right topic and to find that sweet spot. So how do you find your niche? A good option is to start with the bigger niches and then to focus down and find yourself a smaller sub-niche within the niche. So to start with, let's look at what the very biggest niches are and what the most lucrative ones are. In general internet marketing, the biggest niches are fitness, dating, self-help, and making money. This is because all of these subjects are things which have a hugely broad appeal and which will appeal to practically everyone. If you have the marketing budget, then you can reach the biggest potential audience this way. At the same time, though, these niches are huge because they have something else going for them: value proposition. Each of them has something very big and important to offer people, an emotional hook that makes people more passionate about a channel. So, for example, fitness isn't really just about getting into shape. It's about being more confident, sexier, healthier, and happier thanks to your training and your diet. People hope that by watching these channels, they can turn their lives around. The same goes for money and dating. These offer complete lifestyle changes. They let people find love or get more sex. They allow them to travel around the world and to wear nice watches. They have a real emotional hook, and this means the products sold in advertising can charge a lot more. People are much more willing to pay for a book that will make them $1 billion than they are to pay for a book that can teach them how to sew. But YouTube is a weird place, and when you look around YouTube, you'll find that these regular rules only partly hold true. But there's actually a lot of other highly successful content there that is just plain inane, to be quite frank. Some of the biggest topics on YouTube outside of those big internet marketing favorites are gaming, makeup tutorials, grooming and style, travel, technology, fails, cats, DIY, comedy, and lifestyle vlogs. That's a much more bizarre selection of niches, and if you look around you'll find thriving subcultures celebrating all kinds of other unusual things. There are some very popular YouTube channels, for example, that show people how to transform new Transformer toys. The thing to understand about YouTube is that it's much more visual than a blog or a social media channel. And this means any subject matter that is more visual in nature and more dynamic is almost sure to be a success. Cat videos provide immediate laughs, while makeup tutorials show women how to look their most beautiful and have the proof that it works right there on the screen. And people enjoy watching inane things like vlogs about the everyday lives of YouTube stars because, well, believe it or not, it almost feels like company. People enjoy watching the YouTube channels of people who are like the coolest friend that they'd love to hang out with. YouTube is such a direct, personal format that it's a great way to create almost a relationship with your audience and to thereby make a big impact on them. This works even better if you can sell the kind of lifestyle they find desirable and thereby allow them to live vicariously. A lot of people watch the lifestyle vlogs of rich, attractive people because they want to live those kinds of lifestyles themselves, and of course, a lot of it is fabricated. Meanwhile, watching someone else play a video game and providing a commentary can be a way to recreate the feeling of hanging out with your mates while playing GoldenEye on the N64 in your youth. And at the same time, you're getting news and footage of new games that you might be interested in. So, how do you bring all these disparate elements together into something that will really work for you? Well, that's a question only you can answer. But a good way to start is to take a broad niche that has a wide appeal and then focus down. For example, you can go with fitness, but find your own way into the industry by making your channel all about fitness for the over 50s. This is a brilliant way to offer something a bit different and a bit unique, and thereby stand out from the crowd while still having that value proposition and universal appeal. Another thing to always remember is to be true to yourself. Choose the niche you're most comfortable with, and you'll find you have much more to say on the matter. You'll come across as much more passionate and interested in your own topic, and you'll be better able to inspire your audience to listen to you. I can't tell you which niche you need to pick, but using all this information, hopefully you can come up with something that will have a big appeal while also being true to who you are. Before you dive into your content creation with both feet, let's rewind for a second and assess exactly what this will involve and what it means to be a YouTuber. How does one go about making money on YouTube, and how much can you expect to make? It's important you understand the business model here, as that is going to affect the way that you approach your content creation and your general approach to making money online. The main way in which you make money on YouTube is via advertising. Google has its own advertising platform, and it uses this to allow companies and brands to pay to show their adverts on your channel. This is a form of AdSense, for those who know what it is, which means it's PPC. In plain English, this means the advertising uses a pay-per-click system, although you can also get paid when you get a certain number of complete views. In other words, you aren't getting paid a flat fee for your advertising or getting paid per month. Rather, you're getting paid each time the advert is shown and each time someone clicks on it. Of course, not everyone who comes to your channel is going to watch the adverts all the way through or is going to click on them. But you can generally assume by pure statistics that you'll get a certain amount, which is called your CTR or click-through rate. And this means that for every 1,000 views on a video, you're likely to get paid a certain amount on average. Now, this isn't very much, and to be honest, you're probably going to need hundreds of thousands of views daily in order to make a decent amount of money, and certainly if you hope to make a full-time living from YouTube. But it can be done, and you can get there, if you're willing to not only work hard, but also work smart. Advertising is just one option, however, and there are actually many more ways you can monetize YouTube if you want to. One great example is just to promote a product of your own and sell that. If you can create an ebook, a clothing line, or anything else, you can promote that using your channel and drive sales. And this will work very well if you can focus on that value proposition and promoting the lifestyle as we've discussed earlier. Don't have a product? Well, no problem. You can promote products other creators have made and earn a commission on the sales. This is called affiliate marketing, and it pairs particularly well with YouTube, seeing as you can be very persuasive when people actually get to see you talking about the product in person, and you can even demonstrate it right on the screen. And finally, you can try and get sponsorship deals. Now, this works very well if you're in a visual medium like fitness, where it's common to get sponsorship from clothes manufacturers, supplement producers, and even companies that make training equipment. You can then demonstrate the products that you're promoting in your videos, and that way you can get a lot of exposure for them. Often these companies will pay per video, while in other cases they might pay a monthly fee, which is up to you to work out with them. Consider these factors and the type of monetization strategy you intend to use at the time that you create your channel idea. Different subjects will make it easier or harder to find sponsors, and generally, a bit of pre planning can go an awfully long way. The best way to make money on YouTube and become a massive YouTube celebrity is to actually get out in front of the camera and speak to your audience in person. You want them to get to know you, and you want to put your personality across in your videos. This will help to make you considerably more persuasive while simultaneously giving you many more options in terms of what you can create. And if you're going to do that, there's some crucial equipment and software you're going to need to invest in. This can be somewhat expensive, but if all goes to plan, it will pay for itself over time and it will be money well spent. Just as a note here, if you're not comfortable going in front of the camera, you can still be very successful with a YouTube channel, and this will reduce what you need to invest in. We'll discuss these alternative options in subsequent videos, so you can skip most of this one for now if that's your intention. Let's look at some of the hardware you'll need. Of course, the most basic hardware you're going to need is a camera. And this is what you'll use to capture your footage, and that means the quality of the camera is going to directly influence the quality of your videos. There are numerous factors to consider in this case. One is the resolution, and here you'll need at least 1080 pixels. For now, most people still do not have a 4K display, meaning that you don't need a 4K camera, and 4K creates very large video files which are hard to move around and edit. But if you want to offer the utmost crispness and also future-proof your setup, then choosing 4K is a great option. Another option is your frame rate. Now, this will generally be either 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. Once again, 60 frames per second is an optional advantage which will make your footage that much more attractive and give it an almost too real sense of fluidity. It's entirely up to you if you want to push for this very highest level of quality, but some discerning viewers will certainly appreciate it if you do. Some features to look out for include an optical zoom if you're planning on filming outdoors, and this lets you zoom in with no loss of quality, and options to alter the aperture, etc. Good autofocus is very important if you'll be moving around a lot in front of the camera, while being able to use macros to blur out the background is also a nice option. But what's more important really are the practical considerations for your camera. Having a mic jack, for example, is a very good idea because it will give you the ability to improve your sound quality. Likewise, a wide-angle lens is a very good idea if you're going to be moving around a lot and capturing dynamic footage. Something that you should also absolutely consider a requirement is a screen that can be rotated to face forward. This will allow you to make sure that you're in the shot before you start vlogging. And of course, there's no reason you can't do all this using multiple cameras. Many people will use both a GoPro for capturing more action-packed dynamic footage and then a regular camera for their vlogging. If you want to go budget, then you can get by using an iPhone camera or a Samsung camera on your phone, as long as it's a newer model. But if you're serious, then you should at least invest in a basic camera along the lines of, say, a Canon G7. Also important is to get a tripod. Is it possible to film without one? Well, sure, you can always balance your camera on a pile of books on top of an ironing board. But you'll find out that lining up good shots ends up taking a lot more time than you will be willing to go through on a regular basis if you take this approach. A tripod will thus save you a huge amount of time while also getting better angles, thereby giving your channel a higher quantity and quality of videos, which is obviously going to be a very good thing in terms of getting lots of views. Another thing to look for potentially here is a tracking head from the likes of Manfrotto, who also make tripods. This will allow you to attach your camera on top of your tripod and then let you perform panning shots and slow zooms. This is what will give your footage a much higher level of professionalism, and it's very important if you're planning on doing product reviews and want to feature slow pans of the items you're reviewing. These work by providing friction on a rotating pivot and a handle. You then gently push on the handle with just a finger or a palm, and the resistance will keep the motion slow and smooth as it gradually moves around the object in focus. It's important to use a manual focus during these shots rather than an automatic one. It's often said that the best lighting is natural lighting. To get a great shot, try to line yourself up so that you have a large window letting in natural light from the side. This will give you what's known as Rembrandt lighting, which is a professional and very flattering looking type of lighting. But while this type of lighting is highly desirable, it's not terribly reliable. You can't trust in natural light to always be available when you need it, and you can't limit yourself to only filming at certain times of the day. So you need to make sure you have a way to set up the perfect lighting when you need it. How are you going to do that? Well, with some kind of lighting setup. And a great choice is to get two soft boxes. Now, these take up a fair bit of space, but it's worth it as it will allow you to design your lighting however you wish and make sure that your subject matter is well lit and that your footage is clear and bright. Now, don't underestimate this. In fact, in many cases, it can be more important to ensure your footage is very light and very bright than it is to use a camera with a high definition. This will make your footage look more professional and more appealing to watch. Want to go one step further? Well, depending on the nature of your videos, you can get creative here if you want. Jonathan Morrison has a YouTube channel that's all about showcasing technology products in the very best possible way and making them highly desirable. This gets him a lot of views and helps him to sell a lot of affiliate products, which of course means that manufacturers are happy to work with him and to supply free products for review. One trick he uses to accomplish this is to use colored lighting. He'll often light phones and other gadgets in a bright pink, green or purple hue on a white background, which makes them look more modern and more crisp, especially with his high-quality video equipment. The great thing is that colored bulbs are actually very affordable, so this is something you can mimic fairly easily yourself, should you want to. Just like it's important not to underestimate the importance of your lighting, you also need to ensure that you never underestimate the importance of your sound quality. If you want to make your video look and sound professional, then it's absolutely crucial that you have good quality sound and don't just get a muffled sound into a regular camera microphone from a distance. Things like acoustics matter, and even if your viewers don't notice the difference, they'll be able to feel the difference. Things like this make a massive psychological impact and can be the difference between a channel that has high production values and that people love to watch, and one that looks unprofessional and that nobody takes seriously. Fortunately, sound is a relatively easy thing to get right, and the best way to do this is with a basic external microphone. You can get a lapel mic, also known as a lavalier mic, easily enough, and then attach it to your phone or camera to record your audio at the same time. Better yet, find a high-quality microphone that you can plug directly into your camera's mic jack. The Blue Yeti Snowball microphone is one of the most popular choices among YouTubers right now, and it is a very affordable option that will provide a crisp and clear sound quality very easily. As well as hardware, you'll also need to invest in some basic software and other intangibles. The most obvious thing here is your editing software, which you're going to use to take your footage and turn it into something that has a narrative structure and that's actually fun to watch. There are plenty of options here, which include Sony Vegas, Final Cut Pro X, iMovie, and Adobe Premiere with After Effects. Your choice will depend on personal preference, budget, and your computer. But either way, you will need a professional editing suite in order to make your videos look the part. This is what you'll use to cut and stitch together your footage, and it's what you'll use to add things like music and logos. There are numerous graphics you'll also want to add to your videos. For example, you'll probably find you need some kind of logo to overlay on top of your videos if you want to build a brand. This is important as it will help to ensure people know who you are and that your videos and content are from the same creator. A good logo should be coupled with a good name, and ideally, the two together should be enough to communicate everything new viewers need to know about your brand. If you get this just right, then people should be able to tell from those things alone whether they be interested in your channel and potentially subscribe with no further information. Other graphics will also come in handy. For example, you might want to use bottom thirds, which you will overlay on top of your video as a way to annotate what's happening on the screen. Then you might want to find some stock images that you can use to illustrate points that you're making or that you can use in conjunction with your recorded footage. On top of this, you'll need to look into video and sound for your videos. One important thing here is a video opener, which is a short clip that will play at the start of your videos and help you to further cement your brand while indicating that the video has started. Music can be very useful and would allow you to make your videos a lot more engaging while also being able to invite emotional responses. So, where do you find all these extra materials? One answer is to pay for your materials to be created on a site like Fiverr or Upwork. These sites will allow you to find freelancers who can create your materials for you and make them look very professional. Again, it's a small investment, but it's very much worth it, seeing as how much use you'll be getting out of these things.